Welcome everybody to the uSTADIUM Fantasy Live Show. I'm Chris. That's Stefan. He was here. He's not there. Kind of like Kenny Gainwell this week. He was supposed to show up, but he absolutely did. Don't feel bad, buddy. I know he was one of your starts. Don't feel bad, man. He was across the board a big start of the week for a lot of people. And in true Eagles running back fashion, he didn't show up. But these are the breaks. How is it going, Stefan? How was your fantasy weekend, brother?
It was good. I won in a few leagues. I lost Derrick Henry in a main league. That hurts my soul. I lost another league because Kyler Murray on Thursday night. Listen, 4-4 and 5-3, one league. It's been a tough season for me. I'm usually a little bit better than that. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a rough one. I'm hoping to bounce back and hopefully give you guys by Sunday better picks and starts because man, that Kenny Gainwell is gonna haunt me for a while. I was so confident. Tyler Lockett, I was so confident. Keenan Allen, I was so confident, but I guess they watched the show. They're probably huge fans of the show now and like, huge. All right, you want to go ahead and do that? Watch me now. So a little bit sour and sour taste in my mouth from this weekend. So
that happens in the uSTADIUM Employee League. I had an absolutely atrocious week. I had Kyler Murray, I had Derrick Henry, I had James Robinson. I think I scored 49 points. The only issue is my opponent scored 53. So it was such a winnable week for me, even though my team was complete dog doo-doo, but it just didn't pan out. But that's why I hedge my bets, and I'm in a multiple leagues. So, but other than that, it was a pretty good week. There was some big injuries. We did lose Derrick Henry, MVP pace season he was on, touchdown machine. He went down. He even played on the broken foot. So, like, man, it was heartbreaking news. Surgery to end the season, 6 to 8 weeks. It just heartbreaker. But they did go out and sign the ageless wonder sitting on his couch, Adrian Peterson, to fill the void. He's not Derrick Henry. Don't expect Derrick Henry-like numbers, but he is an ad. We'll get into Adrian Peterson a bit later on in the show. And then James Robinson also went down. Luckily, they are on a bye week, but he also went down. A couple other injuries. Jameis Winston's out for the Saints. That hurt. I mean, it was okay because we did beat the Bucks. And I do get to see you eventually in the black and gold.
Sunday, I'll rock it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I like it. Mike White had a big game. Let's get into that a bit. Is there a QB controversy in New York, or what are we doing there? Is Mike White a waiver ad?
The Western Kentucky guy is just Zach Wilson, number 2 overall pick, right? Yeah, he's gonna be the guy. Mike White's like, hold my beer. Hold my beer. The first rookie, I believe, in his first start to throw for 400 yards against none other than the Cincinnati Bengals, the team that is good and then they suck, and then they're good and then they lose to the Jets. I can't explain this. I thought Cincinnati, I had him in a lot of leagues. I'm like, okay, Cincinnati against the Jets. Zach Wilson's not playing. Start them everywhere. Just like the Kenny Gainwell take. It came back and bit me in my butt.
One of those trap games for the Bengals. I wonder how many people actually had that game circled in their Survivor League and ended up just losing because of that game. Were you one of them? Yeah,
one of my Survivor leagues.
It's so unfortunate, man.
I should have just went with the Eagles against the Lions. I'm like, you know what, the Lions are I'm like, no, I'll save that for another one. But no, it comes in round and just it's the Jets, man. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, Mike White, big day, 28.1, I think, points.
28.1 points.
28.1 fantasy points.
He looked good.
Finished his QB2. Now, he's you're in that position. You are kind of playing with house money, so he's got nothing to lose but to go out there and just sling the ball. I think he threw it for 36 times, something along those lines. So, but he had to in order to keep up with the Bengals. Some other big performances. One of your big calls on the week, you said start the man, Michael Carter, and the dude absolutely went off, finishing as the RB1 in 0.5 PPR formats. 2 Jets had big days, Mike White and Michael Carter. It was a great, great output for anybody that took your advice, which I hope they did, at least on that one, and put him in the lineup.
I love it. I honestly, like, I'm watching and I'm like, okay, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett. I'm like, okay, I had a few. I'm looking at Michael Carter. I'm like, this guy, like, it. I don't know if it's the Mike on Mike connection, but like, leave him in. Mike White knows what he's doing. He had more control of that offense. He gave him the ball. He did exactly what I was hoping he would do. I'm like, this has to be a Michael Carter game, and thank God he hit, because those other ones I looked bad on. I'm like, I gotta have something to savage my day. That Leonard Fournette take. Leonard Fournette had a bad game.
Yep.
He dropped that touchdown that would have savaged his day, but he just sometimes cannot hang on to the ball. And Michael Carter made me look great. Kenny Gainwell made me look bad. It's just the way it goes, you know. The guys you think are going to do good are the guys that do bad, and the guys that are doing bad are going to do good. It's fantasy. It's just the way it goes, you know.
We can crunch the numbers all we want. At the end of the day, it comes down to coaching scheme and weather and all kinds of different factors, game script, and who knows what's going on within a lot of these games. Let's get to some of our picks. My starts, I didn't fare too well in my starts. My sits did pretty good, but my 3 starts for the week were Kirk Cousins, who had an absolutely horrible day against in an advantageous matchup against the Dallas Cowboys that started Cooper Rush. He got 12.16 fantasy points, which is atrocious. Chase Claypool, who we were expecting a big day out of, only scored 8.1 half-point PPR points. So he had a bad day. Although he did average a good depth of target. I think it was 11.7 yards per catch. So he was used at 5 targets. He didn't get the touchdown that I was hoping for, but the usage was there. But man, that whole offense as a whole is struggling. Emmanuel Sanders threw up a donut against Miami. I was expecting a big day out of Manny Sanders.
And Cole Beasley had 10 catches. Like,
Cole Beasley went off, man, right? So he threw up a donut. I absolutely hated it. I'm happy that we kind of cut that one from the show last week, so I didn't tell you to start him, but I will own it. He was one of my starts. I will own it. He dropped a donut on me, and it was bad. Your starts here, you had Kenny Gainwell.
It's gonna haunt me, man. I was so excited. I'm like, this is gonna be the guy I waited for. And watch how fantasy works, because Boston Scott's the #1 guy in the waiver wire next week. What's gonna happen? Oh, Kenny Gainwell breakout game, and we're not gonna say nothing about it. I'm just gonna leave that backfield alone. Don't ask me about it. I'm just gonna say move on. I plead the fifth. I don't want anything to do with that backfield anymore. So please don't DM me. Don't nothing. Just don't ask me about the Eagles.
It's on to Cincinnati for you when they're talking about the Eagles. Yes. I like it. Hunter Henry was another one of your starts. He got a 380 or 3.80 points, half-point PPR format, so he didn't have a very good day.
Revenge game didn't work out for him. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn it, Hunter Henry. He's another guy who was doing good, had consistent games of a touchdown, had a decent floor, but it just didn't go his way this week. It wasn't a great game script for him.
Yeah, man, I agree. It just wasn't positive outlook for him. And then, of course, Michael Carter, RB1 on the week, 27.7 points. He was involved in the passing game. He was involved in the rushing game. And he had a big, big day for fantasy owners that started him. I hope you started him there. He was huge, man.
It was beautiful. I loved it. I loved what I saw from the Jets. Honestly, the Jets, as much as they're ugly, and I even said it, I don't affiliate myself with the Jets. I'm not a Jets fan. But when you see talent and when you see a player you just know is just ready to break out, this was Javonte Williams, what we want from him. It goes to Michael Carter's backfield teammate in UNC. He just got the reins. One guy is out, and next thing you know, the Jets woke up from their terrible sleep that they've been doing all year long and got a win against a team that they should have honestly got steamrolled by, I believe. But hey, Michael Carter saved my picks, so I got to look good somehow. So I can't hate myself too much for it because they are hit and miss. We do crunch the numbers, me and you. We are right sometimes, we are wrong sometimes, but we just try our best to make you guys win your weeks. So
yeah, man, and we put in the work. We're trying to find these things for you guys, but hey, we can't play the games.
And we're not trying to put guys that we know start Tyreek Hill, bench someone that sucks. We just want, these are options that you might need. These are guys that people are overlooking. These are guys that could help you win, boom or bust. So it's hard sometimes, but when we hit, you're gonna know it, and when we don't, you're also gonna know, because we will own up to our mistakes and we will own up to our successes.
Yeah, exactly. Trainwreck Sports has a question here for us. Week 9 streaming options. Do you have any off the top of your head right now that you are streaming for week 9?
Yes. Actually, if you is one of them, guys, if it's a quarterback, I like Tua this week. It's against the Houston Texans. I talked about it on our show earlier with Splash and Jack. This has to be it for the Miami Dolphins team. And I think they come out and they do what they're supposed to do against the Houston Texans. I think they go into the week, they have a strong mindset. I also like quarterback-wise, it's ugly, but Gino Smith, it looks like he just, I was talking so much smack about him, and he's just going ahead and delivering the rock. I mean, streamable options, those guys. We do have some of our guys that we have for Fab, so I'm not going to spoil the surprises when we have, going forward, but some tight ends are out there. Dan Arnold, you've got freaking
I think Gino's on a bye, by the way.
Gino's on a bye? Okay,
yeah,
so
Seattle, Detroit, Tampa, and Washington are all on bye.
I gotta keep up on these bye. Thank God Detroit's on a bye, because they would lose regardless. So but no, Tua is my, for me, is gonna be the start of the week. Just because it's a matchup. It's just the easiest matchup for me. So if you're looking for a quarterback, Tua. If you're looking for a running back, of course, Titans backfield, AP, Mick Nichols. All of them. Receiver-wise, you have Khalif Raymond, AJ Green. Hopkins has kind of got a little hobbled. Rondell Moore as well. Christian Kirk. Those are some guys. Those guys are all guys that are going to probably step up if Hopkins can't come. He doesn't have an injury designation right now, but I don't know what his status is. He played through the hamstring injury, got yelled at for going in the game because he forced himself back into the game against the Packers. They were on a long 10-day rest, so I don't know, but if I had to choose going to this week, those would be the guys I'm looking for to snag this week.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's guys like also Van Jefferson with the Deshaun Jackson news that he wants out. He's going to step up in a role in that Rams offense. You got guys like Russell Gage.
Oh, my God, Russell Gage.
Dropped a 0. But, Brian Edwards is going to be pushed up into a spot. Pat Freiermuth, as long as Eric Ebron's out, he's a good streaming option. And then, like you mentioned, Dan Arnold, you got Carlos Hyde, and guy like maybe Mike White, Thursday night game against Indy. Who knows, man, if he could do it again. I mean, like I said at the top of the show, he's playing with house money. He's got nothing to lose. Get him in there, man. Get him in there. Pick him up as a free agent after waivers clear. And if you are taking a shot and someone else grabbed Tua or one of these other top end streamers, hey, Mike White doesn't look like a bad option. Doesn't look like a bad option at all.
He didn't have any Corey Davis either. He had Elijah Moore, Chris Conley, and Braxton Berrios. You're gonna tell me you put up 30 points on the Bengals with those respectfully scrubs? Elijah Moore is young, he's still developing, but outside of that, really?
Yeah.
And then Tyler Kroft scores. I guess it was his revenge game. No one even knew about that, but he scored. Hey, Mike White looks legit. He looks more legit than Zach Wilson in his starts in one game against a decent defense. So don't be scared. It's ugly, but this is the year of the ugliness rearing its head out. So you've got to do what you got to do to win. If you got to start Mike White because you don't have a streamable quarterback, someone's in a bye week, go do it. Go do it, because he just showed that he belongs at least another week.
Yep.
So,
and Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz is on your waivers and you need a spot start for a quarterback, he might be a guy that you want to go grab versus the Jets on Thursday. I mean, he's been a decent quarterback, especially fantasy-wise for the past few weeks. So he's definitely a guy that you're going to want to put in your lineup.
And he's been not injured. He's been avoiding the injuries lately. Hopefully, that continues.
Avoiding injuries, avoiding turnovers.
Exactly. Those turnovers he went from leading the league in turnovers to having the least amount of turnovers. So that's like the biggest jump. So hey, Carson Wentz to all those guys could help you win in a week that you need a win. You have Kyler Murray who might not play this week. You got some bye weeks, you got to deal with. Pop them in, let them go, because you never know what these guys can do. And these matchups are too easy to just ignore. I might even start Kyler. I might even start Tua over Kyler if Kyler even plays.
Yeah, I think Kyler's already been ruled out.
He's already been ruled out.
I think so.
Okay, because I know they practice tomorrow, and Kingsbury said he's progressing in the right way, but we're not going to know until the first practice tomorrow because they had the Thursday game, so they're off a little longer. I'm hoping he doesn't play, to be honest, because you know how I feel about these injuries. I'd rather you rest the injury, come back next week, and come back and play it. But you know what? I have him in a few leagues, so I got to hope the best on the waiver wire for tomorrow. So
let's get into this trade question here from Teagan Peterson. Alvin Kamara, Jalen Hurts, and Devonta Smith for Stafford, Damian Harris, and CeeDee Lamb. Thoughts? Let's assume that it's a redraft league here. Let's assume that it's 0.5 PPR. What's your first take on this move? What side do you like more?
So I favor Stafford over Hurts. I favor CeeDee Lamb over Devonta Smith by a long shot, and I favor Kamara over Harris. So in this reality, you're getting two better players with Lamb and Stafford, but Kamara it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard to get away with him, but Harris has been nothing but elite the last 3 weeks, and I'll use that word because he has been good. He's been nothing but short of what he was drafted for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is also picking up. I don't care who started for quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush came out there and he dropped it all over the Vikings.
Did his job.
And CeeDee Lamb was one of the guys on the receiving end. I mean, he had good catches. He didn't have the touchdown like Cooper did when he just annihilated the DB. But that offense looks like anyone could play quarterback, and those guys will feed. I personally would do that trade. I like Stafford. I personally, unless a catastrophic injury happens, which I hope doesn't to any of those players, Stafford's going to be a top 3 quarterback. Harris is easy at top 10. You're sneaking his way into a top 10, position because he's having a touchdown every game, almost at least 100 yards or something like that. And CeeDee Lamb is just CeeDee Lamb. I don't even got to talk about that guy. It's CeeDee Lamb.
Now does the Winston injury and the injection of Taysom Hill into that offense take a couple points off of Kamara for you? Does he take a step down? Does he move down your rankings at all rest of the season with the addition and with the subtraction of Winston and the addition of Taysom Hill in that offense?
To be honest, I want to say yes because history says it is. History has proven that when Taysom Hill is there, he is like the kryptonite for Kamara.
He's the vulture.
Exactly. Going forward, I just don't think that if he's the rest of the season starter, he cannot just keep doing this. So Kamara will have bad weeks with Taysom Hill in, but then again, he'll have other good weeks. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Taysom Hill because I just don't like how he does so many things. He can't be that elite passer. At the end of the day, Kamara can't have 10 receptions a game, and he can't have 0 receptions in the game because last year I remember when Taysom Hill had to come in for Drew Brees a game, Kamara finished with almost nothing, and it was like, what are you doing?
There was one game where he had no targets, not
exactly
even
like unless Sean Payton is out here like Taysom. Look who you have. Look at number 4-1. He is the reason we are winning these games. Outside that great run defense, they need someone like him to touch the ball 20 times a game. And until Michael Thomas comes back, there is no one else. Kevin White. I mean, I haven't heard that guy's name in years, and he's making plays. Marquez Callaway is making plays. These are guys that you don't want to say they're good, but Taysom Hill, if you can get the ball to these guys for 2 more weeks, get the ball to Kamara, you're getting Michael Thomas back. You have Mark Ingram, Mark Ingram, I got to give you props to Mark Ingram. On the Texans, he looks sad, depressed, and terrible. On the Saints, he looked like a reborn. They just drafted him out of Alabama, Heisman winning, back. And that helps. That helps Kamara a lot because he stays healthy. And you are a big Saints fan, so a healthy Kamara and a less workload, even though I know it's fantasy. We want him to be abused. They don't care about that. Sean Payton doesn't care about that. He wants Mark Ingram to – I mean, he took a lot of carries from him last game. And if it wasn't for that one touchdown, he would have almost vultured almost every single goal line carry. So, hey, you know what? Taysom Hill, if you can get it going, leave the groove that Jameis was starting to get into, I can see them being good. I can see Kamara being good. I personally will take Taysom Hill as a streamable quarterback as well, too. But I got to see what he does 1 week before I go out gung-ho for the guy.
Yep, I agree. T-Cal, who do you think would be better to pick up for Henry's replacement, Mick Nichols or Peterson? I personally think AP will see all the goal line work. They'll both have a role. Sargent's also there. They also picked up Foreman to put him on the practice squad. So I want to see week 1 of this backfield, that what they're going to do. I don't necessarily trust either one over the other, but I see them as maybe high-end RB3s, low-end RB2s in a week-to-week basis. I just want to see the usage. Mick Nichols, I think, will be more of the receiving guy, and Peterson will just handle all the goal line stuff.
How many carries do you think, if you had to sit there and make a split between them? Like, I know Mick Nichols is not the workhorse. It was supposed to be Drayton, but he's out. Do you think AP gets 15 carries a game at least, can average 50 to 60 yards off just volume?
Yeah, if we're gonna put an over-under on it on a weekly basis, I would probably set it at 13.5 on a weekly basis as for carries. I don't see them running the ball as much as they did with Derrick Henry. I do see AJ Brown getting a little bit of a bump in the ranking, so I can see him going up. But yeah, I see them both having a decent role, but nothing like what Henry was.
You can't, yeah, that's irreplaceable, man. And it's such a sad injury because we're all on the hype train. It's like those players that you love. No one hates Derrick Henry. No one wants to see Derrick Henry go down, but when it does, it just sucks for the league. And like I said on our show earlier with Splash, the injuries have piled on so much. It's just like you add Henry on top of that. You've had like the Russell Wilsons, you have Dobbins. It's just like it sucks because it ruins fantasy seasons, but it also like turns it up a notch where, okay, now you have to like in depth pick up AP, Mick Nichols, guys you have to actually do homework on and like take chances on, which makes it more fun. But it's tough and it's hard to replace a guy that has that much of like a staple in that offense.
Value, yeah, exactly.
King Henry.
When you think Tennessee Titans, man, the first guy that comes to your mind is Tractorcito, Derrick Henry, right? So like we said, MVP pace, definitely making a statement to be the league's MVP, and it's just unfortunate. Who is your pick? Who's your MVP leader now? I mean, it's kind of in the air, isn't it? Cooper Kupp, maybe.
I was going to say it's literally in the air with Cooper Kupp because the guy is – I don't know if defenses just don't see him or are they just like getting beat out by him? Are they just not planning for him? This man through 8 games has more catches, more yards, and more touchdowns than Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson had.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think he matched his last season output.
Yeah,
through 8 weeks.
Yes,
through 8 weeks.
Like I said, I don't know what's going on in LA. I don't know what's in the water, what's in the air, but no one wants to cover them.
Center.
Right. And listen, we said it. I lived in Detroit for many years. We were always like, if Stafford just had the team around him, this guy would be elite. And everyone's like, no. He has Calvin Johnson. The second he steps foot in LA, that sunshine, the air, the team, SoFi, new stadium, he was slinging that rock. Ever since the Bears game, it was like, this is exactly what Matt Stafford does. So if I'm going to go right now with it, it's going to be Cooper Kupp. If I had to say like a rushing leader for the season, my hands, my money, my pocket, my mortgage is going on Jonathan Taylor.
Oh,
that's the guy I want. I think Chubb will be there. I don't know if it was last week. It was the first week after injury. If Chubb was just eased in, but Jonathan Taylor looks like a man just loose. They're finally using him. They didn't really use him in overtime last week. It had I don't even think even one carry in overtime. I think they fixed that, and especially against the Jets front line, that's good. A Colts offensive line, I think, is slightly better. I think Jonathan Taylor, the rest of the season, leads the league in rushing.
My biggest takeaway for Jonathan Taylor is that they are passing him the ball, man. I think he had over 3 catches, 53 yards. There was that one clip that I saw where Carson Wentz could have hit him and he would have burst out for 15 to 20 yards, but he just didn't see him there. They're including him in every aspect of the offense. So as a JT owner, I'm hyped, man. I'm excited for it. Hey, guys from New Life. What's up, buddy? Rashad Bateman, Emmanuel Sanders, and also Adrian Peterson. Who should I pick up? I can use either wide receiver or RB. Don't matter. Thank you. I would probably push Emmanuel Sanders as the third one here, and for between 1 and 2 of the ads, I think I'm going Rashad Bateman over AP, and then Sanders if I'm ranking them.
I like it. I mean, personally, Sanders just had everyone's entitled to their dud games. Everyone's entitled to have a bad game. Sanders is averaging 15 points in PPR. Yeah. Sanders is clearly the number 2 guy. I know last week the whole 10 catches for Cole Beasley, 5 out of 7 for Diggs. I just think Sanders is that guy. I like Bateman. I mean, Bateman, I know he was on a bye week last week. I think that actually helps get rapport better with Lamar Jackson. I think Bateman and Emmanuel Sanders are 2 guys that you want to pick. AP, if you want to take that risk, if you have that trouble at RB, go right ahead. But like you said, if you're expecting 20 carries, 100 yards, or even 80, 60 yards a game from AP, I think he's more TD dependent. So
yeah, yep.
So I agree with you on that one.
All right, let's get it. Just recap the rest of our sits here. I told you guys to sit Ricky Seals-Jones. He got 2 points, so good sit there. Waddle, 4 points, a good sit there. And Tua, he got 15 points, so another decent sit there. And then for you, we made the list, and then we found out Calvin Ridley was out. We hope all is good in the Calvin Ridley camp, and he gets back to the NFL healthy as ever. But 0 points, so that's a fine one there. We'll bypass that one. But Tyler Lockett put up 20,
11 catches. Like I'm telling you, they were watching the show. Like, okay, you want to talk smack? Watch what I do. And I'm watching. I'm like, Gino Smith can't just he's just not that good. And then of course DK Metcalf 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett 11 catches, $122. I'm like, okay, good. Don't bench him again. I've learned my lesson. Like it's just
that's what happens. You go off on a streak for 2 3 bad games, and then when you're telling people to sit him, he absolutely goes off.
I was a week too late.
Yeah, exactly. That's I feel you on that one, buddy. Keenan Allen was another sit of yours, 16.7 points. But your bold sit, Leonard Fournette, was a hit, 5.8 points. My bold sit was not a hit. I did get the 2 interceptions right on Tom Brady, but he did throw for 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards. I'm telling you to sit Tom Brady this week, mainly because he's on a bye.
There's no way you get this one wrong, because if you do, we got to reevaluate our entire lives.
And then our sleeper starts, you had Robbie Anderson go off for an absolute 0. And then I had Ty Conklin. He had a decent game. He put up 8 points against the Dallas Cowboys. I projected him to get the touchdown, which he just didn't get, but he did see a decent day through the air. So those are our start sits. We did pretty good there. We did all right.
Bad. It's really one of the sleeper ones that, I mean, yes, I like the start ones, the regular ones. I care. Like I do. I like it when we hit on the sleeper ones, because like I said, Fournette, everyone's like, well, you're crazy. Why would you bet Fournette? Look at his numbers. I get it. I do. I played the matchup, and you know what? The Saints, they disappointed me, yes, because we lost. But they didn't disappoint me because they held Leonard Fournette in check. Even though he did fumble the ball on the little yard line, that his hands are still kind of suspect, but it feels good to hit the sleeper ones, because that's the ones that you work the most on.
Exactly. So. I mean, Tom Brady hit. Tom Brady missed, Leonard Fournette hit. That's 500. We're making millions in baseball, buddy.
Exactly. That's all you gotta do.
That's it. And then some studs for the week. Mike White, 28.1. Josh Allen finishes QB1, 28 points. Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 rushing TDs. He went off for 27 points, doing his best Trey Lance impersonation. Tom Brady, we just talked about it, burned me.
Justin Fields had a great.
That breakaway.
Matt Nagy is his. I said it.
Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Even Nagy was like, I don't know why the offense did so good. I mean, take a look in the mirror, buddy.
The Adam Gase of 2021.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Carter, the RB1 on the week, 27.7. Joe Mixon, which was my pick for RB1, finishes RB2, 23 points. Darrell Henderson having another great week, 21 points. Elijah Mitchell, another great fantasy week. He had a big week. And then AJ Brown went off for 26. Kyle Pittman caught 2 tutties.
He had 15 targets with 10 catches.
Yeah, that's a big one. Chris Godwin, big day, 24 points.
Ruined my life.
It was a slow week for tight ends, though. And in 0.5 PPR scoring, the tight end one was TJ Hawkinson with 13.9 points. So it was a slow week for tight ends all around the board. Yeah,
Conklin wasn't that bad then. If it was 13, it's a 5-point difference.
Yep. Freiermuth came second with 12.4. Brevin Jordan was tight end 3 with 11.6. And then to round out the top 5 tight ends was Jesse James and Dan Arnold. So
yeah,
I mean, other than TJ Hawkinson, which one of the 5? Maybe some people are starting Pat Freiermuth, but no one. I don't think anyone really started the others. Maybe Dan Arnold as a streamer, but man, it was tough on the tight ends this week.
It's and you know what, that just goes to show that every year we say it, these tight end like field it's a wasteland. You don't know. You know who we had last week? I'm not gonna pick at it. Who did we predict the number 1 tight end would be last week? Travis Kelce, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, he's supposed to do good. 2.7 points and a fumble.
Yeah.
That's how you know it was a bad week. You got TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, and barely breaking double digits too. So it's tough week for the tight ends. Hopefully you're in a tight end premium league, so those guys get a bit of a bump.
I've got Schultz and I've got Goddard. I started Goddard over Schultz this week. Tinkered the last second. It didn't get the win though, but it was a better start for me. It looked better on paper. I mean, I don't know. It's tight end unless you have those top 3 guys, and the top 3 guys aren't like the guys we remember. Kelce, I don't know what's going on with that entire Chiefs offense.
Well, they took Kelce out of the game, and it's, you take Kelce out of the game, and the Chiefs kind of struggle. I mean, Tyreek Hill did have a great day, fantasy purpose and football wise.
But who else did?
Other than that, there wasn't much in that offense. Derek Gore. I mean, who started Derek Gore? You tell me you started Derek Gore. I'm not going to believe you.
You better show me the receipts. You better show me the receipts.
But that's a DFS winner right there, right? Derek Gore. If you started Derek Gore last night, you most likely cashed in some of your DFS leagues.
And if you guys did, seriously, if you started Derek Gore, Mike White, or even Fairman, please show us your screenshots.
Yeah, show
me
on
the app and show me yes, please.
I want the receipts. And then some duds for the week. Kyler Murray had a tough one, injury though, so it's kind of tough there. Russell Gage, Emmanuel Sanders, and Robbie Anderson all got donuts. Which to me is just kind of crazy to do in fantasy football. Not even a catch for a 0.5, especially with Calvin Ridley out. We expected Russell Gage to get a bit of a bump like he did prior to that. But they just played good, man. They played that offense good. The Carolina Panthers did. Kyle Pitts even came out and said, I mean, he had a bad day, but he came out and said Stefan Gilmore pretty much shadowed him all game, and he had his welcome to the NFL moment playing against Stefan Gilmore, right? So,
oh man, yeah, it was that Carolina defense next year with Jace Horn back. They're going to be a scary defense. We're just seeing glimpses of what they could do to maybe, better teams. Stefan Gilmore, he had locked Kyle Pitts down. You had Zay Jones catching catches out there, and Kyle Pitts held to 3 catches on the day?
Yeah.
That I don't know, man. That just goes to show that it's one of those years, and you just got to pick what's hot, and you can't pick the big names anymore sometimes. They're just evolving into different players. The young guys, the no names, the Mike Whites, the Cordero Patterson, the Kevin Whites, like the old guys that are in the league for so long are coming back out and averaging 20 points again. You got Mike White is over here throwing 400 yards. So like I said, I don't know what's going on with this year.
It's been a whirlwind, man. It's been crazy. New Life here asks your thoughts on Devonta Smith. I'm thinking of dropping him. He's been a dud. He has had up and down weeks. I think he's had more down weeks than up weeks, but he is the wide receiver 1 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Depending who you're going to pick up, by dropping Devonta Smith, he could be a guy that comes on a little later for you fantasy purposes. I'd maybe stash him for a little bit before completely dropping him. I think he has a late bye week as well. Are they a week 13 bye?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll maybe hold him for a little bit longer, see what he can be put out. If he does have a couple dud weeks in a row coming in here, then yeah, drop him. It's not going to hurt you. Drop him. Let him be someone else's problem. A couple other guys that were duds. Travis Kelce was non-existent. Damien Williams finished as a minus. So if Khalil Herbert's still on your waivers, go pick him up. And the community big ad must start. Everyone was high on him. We were high on him. Kenny Gainwell was an absolute dud. But yeah, that rounds out the studs and the duds for the week. So let's get into it's considering it's week 9, it's a pretty heavy waiver target. I would say waiver ad. There's a lot of good players out there. There's a lot of honorable mentions. We talked about guys that we should have on this list and not have on this list. We went through it a little bit, but let's get into our top 5 waiver ads for week 9, my man.
I'll before we do, the first thing we all see it, whoever it was that we commented on our show a few weeks ago about Jamal Agnew.
Yeah.
Are you like a time traveler? Did you know like this was gonna happen? Were you like from the future and trying to like warn us and say, hey, Jamal Agnew is a must add? Because that guy looked like what Laviska Shenault should be doing.
Yeah.
And I might even want to drop Laviska and try to put a claim in for Jamal Agnew because it just seems like he knows what he's doing. And that number 39 is just doing more than number 10 is. And you know what? I wouldn't be sad if I dropped him for him.
Yeah, I mean, with the shark injury, we were all expecting Shenault to go off and get a big bump in targets, but instead it's been Jamal Agnew, man, and he was moved into the slot. He saw the bigger bump in targets, 25 targets across the last 3 games. He got his first touchdown on Sunday. I mean, he might be a stash this week because he is playing a tough Buffalo defense that is tough against the wide receiver. But put him on your bench for moving forward. He is on a bye week this week, so he might still be there moving forward. But this is kind of a guy that you want to get a jump on. He's available in 98% of your leagues. He ran more routes. He had more routes played, more snaps than Shenault. He saw 3 times the targets. He saw caught 3 times the targets that went his way, and he saw 3 times the yardage than Laviska Shenault. So I'm telling you right now, this guy has the potential to be a league winner in an offense that is dying for a viable passing target. And Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault just haven't been it. I mean, if I'm adding guys out of this offense, it's Jamal Agnew and it's Dan Arnold, man. I mean, those are the guys that I'm adding out of this offense right now.
And Dan Arnold's been floating around. He went from the Arizona Cardinals. He went to the Panthers. Now he's on the Jags. And he's on the Jags making noise where it's like, really? Yep. So, I mean, I'm hopping on that with you. Those are the only 2 guys that are seeing production that's not named James Robinson. Because outside of that, it's an ugly offense. They got mollywopped last game against Seattle. So it was ugly, but those are the only 2 bright sides. So if you have to, go ahead. I mean, you're not gonna get them if you're not gonna spend your whole entire fab. You're gonna be spending a few bucks, if that, and you can get a good steal at tight end or even a returner / receiver in Jamal Agnew.
Yeah, if you're in a league that has punt return yards or kick return yards, I mean, this guy's a guy that you're going to want to put in your lineups if he's there in those formats, because most likely in those formats, it's most likely picked up. LeJuan James asked, do you guys think AP will be better than Mick Nichols? I mean, it's hard to tell right now who's going to be the better running back out of the two. I think AP at the end of the day will end up with more fantasy points only because we see him being the goal line back for the Tennessee Titans. But out of the two, if you're in a PPR league, a full PPR league, Mick Nichols might end up having the better days because he's the pass catching back in that offense. So yeah, it's tough to tell right now. It's definitely a situation that we want to watch. Hoops himself. Get Jay Taylor and Amari Cooper, lose Thielen, Kittle, and Elijah Mitchell. I think I'm taking the Taylor. I'm taking the Taylor Cooper side. I don't like what I've seen so much out of Kittle this year. Mitchell's been a good upside running back, but Jeff Wilson has been cleared to practice this week. So that might put a bit of a hit the brakes on Elijah Mitchell a bit with Jeff Wilson coming back into the fold. And then Thielen is Thielen, man. The guy, he's as steady as they come. But you're getting who Steph thinks is going to end up as the leading rusher in the NFL, and Jonathan Taylor, and Amari Cooper, who's part of one of the most dynamic offenses in the league. So, yeah, give me Taylor and Cooper, especially you already have Andrews there, right? So give me Taylor and Cooper there.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you have two tight ends, especially the Andrews and Kittle, you're baiting Kittle or Andrews, depending on their season, for someone else. Because someone else is going to have him a high value, so you're going to get that. And like Chris said, Jonathan Taylor to me is, if like I said, hot take, bold takes of the year. I think he finishes the number one rusher, and he's already got a dumb amount of usage. Like it's crazy how many catches he's getting and how many rushes he's getting.
Yeah,
and what he's doing with those possessions is even more insane. Last year he was good. He was a good guy. You know, okay. Going into this year, he fell down on draft boards, but if you get that trade, you got Amari Cooper, who, yes, I will be honest, I'll be that guy. Cooper does have the injuries sometimes. You know, he was nursing his hammy during the game. He was massaging it. So that does scare me. But go ahead and take that Jonathan Taylor trade because run with it. I mean, Cooper is nothing short of a receiver one. Taylor is the undoubtable top 4 running back in the league. I think he finishes top 3 fantasy-wise all year. And like I said, number 1 rusher.
Yep, I like it, man. One of our next ads, a wide receiver for the New York Jets, Elijah Moore, with Corey Davis sideline and the emergence of the great white shark, Mike White at quarterback. Elijah Moore breakout is coming, seeing an average about 5 targets per game in all but 1 game this year. Moore had his best day on Sunday, catching all 6 of his targets, going off for 67 yards. Stefan, the best part of the game for me when I watched it on Sunday versus the Bengals was that his success came from the Jets finally using him properly. They were just letting him play within the 10-yard and scrimmage line. That's where he's going to make his money. He's going to get the yards after the catch. He had 3.72 yard per route run at an average depth of targets of 5 yards. And then he was going off yards after that. He's a yak monster. That's where he's going to make his money. That's where he's going to get you the points in fantasy. I talked about it preseason. I talked about it early. Elijah Moore is set up to be that second half guy when he comes on. We talked about it. He wasn't going to be that good at the first half of the season. The second half is where he's really going to come on. Surprisingly, he needed a quarterback change for it to actually happen and a bit of a game plan change. But I'm all about Elijah Moore this second half, man. Are you adding him? Do you have him anywhere? Are you comfortable with having Elijah Moore on your team?
As long as Mike White is slinging the ball, yes. I like I said, I'm not. I said this to Michael Carter. I'm not affiliated with the Jets. I'm only doing this for fantasy purposes. He's a baller. He was supposed to be the number 1 with Corey Davis. I don't believe Corey Davis is a true number 1. He's injury prone. He's out right now. He might play. Elijah Moore and Mike have that thing. They have that swagger together. I mean, finally, Frankie, Nick, they were talking about all season. Wilson, Elijah Moore. Well, looks like someone else is stepping in at quarterback and is giving Elijah Moore what he deserves, because this man is just being wasted talent-wise. And I don't know if it's Zach Wilson's confidence. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is about him. I mean, it's like receivers. These guys are rookie receivers. I don't expect them to go. I don't expect them to go crazy because we're so spoiled with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, guys that were like, oh, like Devonta Smith. This guy's going to have 1,000 yards and touchdowns. Like, this is going to be a legit threat for these defenses. And Elijah Moore, he's going to be that scat guy. I mean, Corey Davis, I don't believe in him. Jamison Crowder is not really like that guy. And Braxton Berrios, really? Chris Conley, really? No. Get out of here. No. Elijah Moore is the reason they drafted him at high, is because he's going to be the guy they will utilize. And with a second half guy, him, Michael Carter, Rashad Bateman, guys that haven't been producing, I think are just taking time to know their offense and know their team. And he is going to be one of those biggest benefactors of Mike White sitting there slinging the rock like he's Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or Drew Brees. Because this man is, I don't know. I personally would see them knocking off the Colts tomorrow night, Thursday night, and I can see Elijah Moore on the end of a touchdown. Maybe 60 yards, 4 or 5 catches again. Because who else are they going to give it to?
Yep.
In a perfect game script, it's Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, then the rest.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe it's Wilson's inability to check the ball down that kind of hampers Elijah Moore's value, especially fantasy-wise. Splash asks, what's more surprising to you, Jamar Chase is wide receiver 2 or Hollywood Brown as wide receiver 9?
Jamar Chase is wide receiver 2 because he's, like I said, he's a rookie. I mean, I was going into the season like Boyd, or it was Higgins, Boyd, Chase. Only because Chase is a rookie. I can't expect everyone to be Justin Jefferson. How wrong was I?
How wrong was everybody?
But then again,
yeah,
you don't know that because in the beginning of the season, the ball's different.
The drops, all that stuff, all those narratives for Jamar Chase. They shouldn't have drafted him. They should have drafted Sewell. They set the organization back years because of this draft pick. And the Bengals are balling out. Sewell hasn't been that great on the Lions.
No,
he hasn't been that great on the Lions.
And you know what? It's up to the Lions to choose guys who are gonna bust. Like, it's like you go look at the Lions' history and look at the guys they picked instead of picking Odell, instead of picking Jamar Chase. Like, that's what sucks. But what surprises me, though, is that second part to that question is Hollywood Brown is finally the guy that we wanted him to be last year. Like, this is finally Hollywood Brown. Like, okay, great. This is the guy we all hyped up. He sucked, and then he got back. He had the drops against the Detroit Lions, but I'm not as surprised because we expected Hollywood to be a top 15, top 20 receiver. Mm-hmm. Yeah, receiver 9 because they're having a great season. I think Sammy Watkins being out does help a little bit with his stats. I do believe Rashad Bateman going forward will cut into that even more because he's going to be that deep threat, like go up and get it kind of guy. And Hollywood might be that like inside slot, like, Edelman type of role, or like someone that's like just Lamar's best friend. So I'm not really surprised on Hollywood because I wanted this. I expected this from him one time because he has to, or he's labeled a bust to me. Jamar Chase is more of a surprise because he's a rookie coming out of LSU, I guess.
And he missed the year. He missed the college year.
Exactly.
No one knew what to expect.
I should have just given him more props for the whole Burrow connection, So, hey, it is more of a big surprise, but going forward, Jamar Chase is going to finish top 10 easily.
Every year, yep. Jalen Chase asks, I traded Montgomery and Hawkinson for CD, McKissick, and Higby, thinking Fields will bring down Montgomery, and Detroit just sucks. Detroit does just suck, but if there's one receiving option in that offense, it's TJ Hawkinson. Montgomery, I think he's due back any week
now. Or two, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't mind moving Montgomery with the notion that Fields will bring him down a bit. But for CeeDee Lamb, who's an absolute baller, J.D. McKissick does have a decent role in that offense. Antonio Gibson has been absolutely a struggle fest the past couple weeks. And then to me, Higby, I was expecting big things out of Tyler Higby this year, but he's almost droppable at this point, man.
he's literally. I have a list of droppable players. He's making the list. The only reason I didn't fully want to drop him yet is because Deshaun Jackson got released.
Yeah,
so
and the offense that he's on, right?
Exactly. So maybe the Deshaun Jackson was cutting into him because like it's not like he's like taking every target, but like with all those mouths to feed, someone's gonna get phased out. And unfortunately, it was him. But I think maybe he'll be a decent, not top 5, but at least a top 10 tight end. And top 10 tight ends are like 2-3 point differences.
Yeah, exactly. So
I wouldn't feel too bad about that.
Yeah, don't hate the move. You're getting seedy at the end of the day.
CDs, TDs too.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into our next ad here. Boston, not Austin Scott. Big week, 2 tutties. I mean, we should have took Darius Slay's advice when he said this was going to be the breakout game for Mr. Boston Scott. Miles Sanders on the IR for at least the next 2 games. He is the top option in that backfield. Yeah.
You know what? What did I tell you in the beginning of the show? He's all right. I'm not gonna hype up an Eagles running back. I can't because it's.
I'm trying to get you to do it. I tried to bait you in there, but
if you need a running back, he's a fine ad.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lose hair. I'm not gonna go gray.
Yeah, I mean, they all had almost 12 carries, if not 12 carries on the week, but Scott had the best yards per carry with 5. Like we said, he found the end zone twice, as did Jordan Howard. Gainwell was the worst out of the 3. Last year, even when Sanders went down, Boston Scott provided decent output for fantasy owners. If we're going to rank all 3 backs, we're going to go Scott, Howard, Gainwell.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think Boston Scott was he having like breakfast with the head coach the morning before the game? And was like the Gainwell like not reply to his text or something because like Gainwell had all the fourth quarter touches when it was 44-0.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to rank them, it's gonna be Boston Scott. Jordan Howard is the most like annoying vulture in fantasy ever.
He is, man.
Like he's a guy who'll get you 2 carries, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. You're like, really?
Yeah.
And I have like studs out there that I can't even do. Like he outscored Nick Chubb this week. Like what? Like that. That's why I stay away from this backfield. I gave it 2 chances. I gave Miles Sanders my love. I gave Kenny Gainwell my love. I'm done. Philadelphia isn't the city of brotherly love, whatever they say. You've got no love for me anymore. No, I'm done. So
you're throwing batteries at the backfield, are you?
Yes. I'll let you hype up the Eagles defense, and I'll let it be your problem.
I'll take it. At least this week. Scott, he's an ad. You can even go higher with the percentage of fab here. This is just a base 20%. He's an immediate starting option, especially this week. They got the Chargers, whose defense is giving up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to the running back. That's going to come back and absolutely burn me. But so start Boston Scott, make him a priority on your waivers. He's got at least another 2 weeks with the Miles Sanders injury.
The Chargers don't care about stopping the run. It's abysmal.
Yep, I agree with that, buddy. And then one of our next ones, he's just coming off a bye, which is probably why he's on your waiver wire. He's available in 70% of Yahoo leagues. It's Rashad Bateman, wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. He missed the first 5 games of the season. He saw 6 targets in each of the last 2 games. In week 7, he caught 3 of those for his career high. I mean, he's only played in a few games, but career high, 80 yards. This is the week to pick him up before he goes off again, especially if you need that bye week replacement. And they're playing Vikings defense, which is giving up the 6th most fantasy points per game to the wide receiver. So go out there and pick up Rashad Bateman. He's another one of those guys that can be a league winner for you.
Oh yeah, if you see that name on the waiver wire, you better pick him up. And I think if he's on there, he should be almost free, right? Because he's a waiver wire. No, that's only free agents. If he's there, scratch it. If he's there, he's like you said, a league winner. He is built like a deep threat receiver. He's going to give Lamar Jackson what they have been missing for the last 2 years. I personally see him having a OBJ-esque rookie year going into the second half. I think he will be the guy who finishes with 7 to 8 touchdowns. Bold take on that one with 8-9 games still left. So if you see Rashad Bateman, you better be putting some money on there, because if you see someone else on there and he's had 80 yards, 12 targets the last 2 games that he came back and they eased him in.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that Lamar Jackson did not finally find his, if I'm not wrong, Splash, correct me, 6'4" receiver?
Yep.
Like that 6'4" receiver is hard to come by. They're all short. They're all like little guys, but this is the guy. And I think he's the real deal. I missed out on him in a bunch of leagues. I'm mad about that, but if you can get him, get your money on him, throw a few dollars on him, like throw a good amount, a few dollars on him. If you have like $100 leagues where like Fab's that much, throw $20 on the guy, because he'll pay dividends. Flex him, and then he'll creep into your receiver too, and you'll love me for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy that missed the 2020 season due to the COVID opt-out. For some people, he was close to being the wide receiver 1 of the class coming out of Minnesota. So he's highly touted wide receiver. Go get him if he's on your waivers. And then our last ad, a guy that's surprisingly owned in 6% of leagues, probably because people were able to pick him up when they heard the news. But Adrian Peterson should be picked up if he's on your waivers, taking the spot of Derrick Henry. We are projecting him to get a bulk of the goal line carries, so the opportunity for touchdowns is there. Out of the running backs that are in that running back room, we see Peterson hitting that end zone hard. He was with the Lions last season. He played 16 games with the Lions. He had a
good season.
604 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3.9 yards per carry. His physical running is almost similar to that of Derrick Henry. He doesn't have the talent of Derrick Henry, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans kind of lean on him to either close out games or like we said, on the goal line in the red zone. Mick Nichols, we mentioned it, will be most likely the receiving back, but just due to volume, I could easily see AP being a low end RB2 flex level. And that's pretty much it for Adrian Peterson in that backfield, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect besides, like you said, 13 carries, low end RB2, 3 flex.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans do have a good offensive line, so I see why Henry produced as much as he did. I mean, at the end of the season, Henry will be a top 15 running back, even though he's going to miss the rest of the season. Adrian Peterson has showed flashes last year. He had decent games. He has a little bit of that breakoff speed. I think he gets the first crack at the backfield. I mean, they got Deonta Foreman back. I don't know. This guy's been floating around. They've got Mick Nichols, Drayton Evans might be back soon. So they've got it's almost like how the Ravens have a full running back room. They might just ride the hot hand, but I do expect Adrian Peterson to come in there. He said he's ready. He's been preparing for this. I have him coming in 13.5 carries. I'll jump on that wagon with you. I can see him at least giving them what they want out of him, not what they need out of like the Henry type of player, but I think what he can give them will give them enough for a few wins. I do see A.J. Brown taking in a huge uptake, also for the tight ends, and then also a few of those secondary receivers, like if Julio can stay healthy. I don't know, but I don't want to bet money on him because God knows what he's going to be healthy again. I just think that it's going to be a committee backfield until Adrian Peterson proves that he can take the workload, which I think he can, but he won't be, like you said, the guy that we're putting at RB1.
Yep.
So don't go too crazy with it, but be nice because we're getting close to the end of the season and you can't take your fab going into next year.
Exactly.
So use it wisely, use it smart, and hey, you never know.
And then deeper league, if you are in a 16, some of those little deeper benches, preseason standout Makai Sergeant should be available in your leagues for that backfield. He had a decent preseason, and if something happens, man, the opportunity might be there. So Hoops himself, one person just expected my trade, and it's get Cook and Waddle, lose Thielen and Godwin. I'm assuming that's Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
So you're getting Dalvin Cook and Jalen Waddle for Thielen and Godwin. I like the output that I'm going to get of Thielen and Godwin over what I'm going to get out of Dalvin Cook and Waddle. But if you're hurting for a running back, I mean, getting Dalvin Cook's not a bad option.
No, I mean, it's not. I mean, he had a little bit of like I don't know, it was a weird game against the Cowboys. Like he hit his over in the rushing total, but it just looks, I don't know, it might just be Kirk Cousins and the Vikings on primetime look ugly regardless. That's why, like, when you said it, when you said the start, I'm like, start him. And then I looked after the show, I'm like, oh my God, he's starting on a primetime game. Justin Jefferson had 4 yards the other night. So, like, he has Kupp, Chase, but okay, then if you have Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase and you have Dalvin Cook, that's a good trade to do.
Yep.
You probably saved your season in a way with that trade. So I like it now that I see other two receivers. So you know what? I'll take that because you got to do what you got to do. We've talked about it. If you're in a position where you're losing the season or you have an injury like their Derrick Henry injury or something like that, you got to make a move to save your season or to, if you're already doing good, just to maintain the hype that your season's going with.
Yep, I agree with that. Let's get into a couple honorable mentions we have here. Carlos Hyde for the Jacksonville Jaguars can be an ad if he's available. Most likely he is. James Robinson did escape serious injury. I think he's just got a bruised heel, so he might miss. They're on bye, so he might miss the next week after the bye.
Actually, no, they're against Buffalo this week.
Are they?
Yeah, and then they have. Yeah, James out there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Washington. I'm buying.
So I like the Carlos Hyde one. I mean, he was gonna make our list if AP wasn't signed. I mean, that's the guy.
It's just a temporary ad, right? Because James Robinson is the RB1 in that backfield. Carlos Hyde is just maybe a week-to-week ad. Yeah. And then you got Derek Gore, who had a game. I don't know how much of an ad he's going to be with Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back into the fold. So another temporary ad. That's why he wasn't on our list. Mike White, another temporary ad, but decent streamer for the week. Jamison Crowder had a decent game. Pat Freiermuth had a game. If Eric Ebron continues to be out, Pat Freiermuth is a guy that you're going to want to add on your teams. Dan Arnold, another guy, high target. I think he was the leading receiver for the Carolina Panthers this past week. Was he?
No, he's on the Jags now.
Oh, Jags. Sorry. Yes, my bad. Yeah. I think he was the leading receiver. I mean, he went from the Cardinals to the Panthers.
He gets traded every week, it seems like.
And you got Taysom Hill, who last year when he filled in, I think he averaged something like 22 fantasy points a game. So he's another streaming option if he's playing. Traquan Smith had a decent day. Logan Thomas on a bye, but due back after the bye. Van Jefferson with Deshaun Jackson. We mentioned Deshaun Jackson wants out. So Van Jefferson's going to get a bump up in targets and playing time. Devontae Parker had 11 targets this past week. So he's a guy that if he's available, you're going to want to add. Russell Gage, I know he just threw up a donut, but just based on potential for playing time and targets and snap share, he's a speculative ad. Ty Johnson had a great game as well.
He had, I think it was that toe tap touchdown. This guy is not gonna. He doesn't die. Nope. Ty Johnson, doesn't matter who's in front of him. He's like, I will make my presence known, and that's why I feel safe with Ty Johnson, low key, because you look at that backfield. You can't give Michael Carter and abuse him, you know.
Yeah, especially with Tevin Coleman out too. As long as Tevin Coleman's out, Ty Johnson could be a play in a week-to-week basis, man. If you need to fill that hole,
and there's no such thing now that the King is out. There is no such thing as a single backfield anymore. There is no backfield now. Maybe besides one, not even. I can't even think of one backfield that's fully just determined to their one running back. That was it.
Pittsburgh.
Yes, and honestly, though, I'm a little worried because I don't want them to. They keep running these guys into the ground. Like you got to look at this. So Najee Harris is jumping to the top 5 running back conversation, but don't be scared or don't be afraid or whatever it is to see these guys dip their numbers down because they have to at the end of the day keep these guys healthy.
Yep. So. And then Brian Edwards with the Henry Ruggs unfortunate news.
I just wanted to say I want one thing about that Ruggs thing. You are NFL athletes. You have the money. You have the standards built around you to be safe. Please, anyone watching this stream, don't drink and drive. what we saw today was probably one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen because it was just pure stupidity. I don't care what it is. I don't care who you are. You're an NFL player. You have a standard to hold. Hold that standard, and you're 22 years old. You just threw away your entire career for a stupid decision and took the life of someone the same age as you because you're racing your Corvette down the street in Vegas. It's just mind-boggling. Like I just had to say something because it just I don't like it. So Henry Ruggs, please there's nothing I can say, but thoughts with the family that lost everything. It's just sad to see that. But I mean, yeah, going back to the thing, Bryan Edwards, just even Renfro is gonna have a jump up in taking targets, but I don't know. It's just a sour taste in my mouth. And
it's heartbreaking, man.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Bryan Edwards. I'll spend $5 on the guy. I'm probably trying to trade for Hunter Renfro before you guys' trade deadline up. And maybe if you can get Darren Waller, he has been kind of on an injured side. Go try to trade for these three guys because now, unfortunately, with the circumstances that are, it's just next guy up for this team. They have to move forward. They have to be better. They have to take this lesson and learn it. So,
yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to talk about something positive that was brought on by such a negative situation. It's heartbreaking at the end of the day. But, you can't really say just don't drink and drive, man.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, just don't do it. You got someone that can help you out. Definitely there's someone you can call, walk, whatever it is. It'll save your life. It'll save someone else's life. And it'll save a whole lot of heartbreak.
Exactly.
But, and then just to move on, the last guy I have here as an honorable mention is Taji Sharp for the Atlanta Falcons. Had a decent game. Now that Calvin Ridley's out for a period of time, we don't know how long he's out for. But if there's a receiving option outside of Cordero Patterson and Kyle Pitts, Taji Sharp might be the guy. We saw Russell Gage go off for a donut. Taji Sharp had a decent day in Atlanta, so he's an honorable mention as well. If you got anyone else?
Zay Jones too. Zay Jones seems to be in a connection with Derek Carr. Another guy that I'm looking at, it's going to be on the San Francisco 49ers. Listen before I get any hate on this.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do
Brandon Ayuk. He had all season high in everything this week. Routes ran, snap percentage. He had a 2-point conversion. It's not a touchdown, but it's a 2-point conversion. It means he's closer to 6 than he was. I re-picked him up back in my league. I dropped Corey Davis because of the injury. I needed a receiver. I saw what he did. I'm like, okay, I can't let this slap him. Because if he does what he did last year and goes off on the second half, like killing spree, I call it, it's going to be like, why? Why are we doing this to each other? Like, we just dropped Ayuk. Someone else picked him up, and now someone else is reaping the benefits that we could have had. So I picked him up.
Debo's nursing an injury, calf injury, I think it is. So another reason.
I hated him. I was the one guy that said, drop him. I'm sick of him, whatever. I'm throwing my mic around that train.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no, give me him back.
And they got a cake playoff schedule.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't hate that at all. And then if Taysom Hill doesn't play, Trevor Simeon.
He was I couldn't
he was decent.
Trevor Simeon and Mike White. You tell me that was what's going to happen this week, that they're going to beat these two guys. I would say you are smoking something. You're drinking something. You're on something. No, we are completely sober when we said what we said.
Yeah.
Because he led the league in passing this week, right?
Who's that?
Mike White was right?
Yep.
Some better put $1,000 on Mike White leading the league in passing this week, and he cashed out for $26,000. That's how much of a crazy odd that stat was. So,
but I think that's it for us for the show. Thursday Night Football, Colts and Jets. Who's the one player? What's your call? You're calling it right now. You're giving me your hot take for the game. You're putting it in. You're going into the uSTADIUM app. You're pushing the takes tab, and you're putting in a take in there to make you some money. What's the one take that you're banking on of this Thursday night football game, fantasy wise? What is it, Steph? Give it to me.
I'm staying on this train. I think Michael Carter has another game.
Ooh.
I think he's gonna have a second straight game. He's have another touchdown. I think he has the rushing yards. I don't think he'll see as many of the receptions. I say that because I said it last week and he did, so I'm gonna say it again. But I think he has another 20-point outlet game. I think he's a league winner. I think he's one of those guys. Also, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is gonna be 3 touchdowns deep and 300 yards.
Oh,
I think what he's gonna do is what Joe Burrow did, and I honestly think the Jets could win this game. I will take the Jets with the spread. I don't have the cojones to take them with the money line, but I will take the Jets with the points. I just think that Mike White brings some kind of swagger to the team that they didn't have. So that's my bold take. Michael Carter is going to go off for a touchdown, and he's going to have another 20-plus point game, and Carson Wentz those 3 touchdowns at 300 yards.
I like it.
I'm going to go into the app and say it too.
I like it. Broadway Mike, as we're going to call him now. Is that it? Or we got to think of a better nickname for him. The Great White Shark wasn't too bad.
That was funny.
But it's not really New York. So we'll have to think of something. My take is that Michael Pittman just goes off and has another top 3 wide receiver game for the week. I'm projecting another big TD output for him. So 1.5 TDs, 7 catches, and 120 yards is my big Michael Pittman take, which isn't too bad when you're saying that Carson Wentz is throwing over.
Right, I like it though.
So give me that there. I don't mind at all, especially with the usage that he's been getting, man.
And he's honestly, I feel like if we're gonna be real, who's talked about Michael Pittman? I haven't seen nobody talk about Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
So give this man some respect. Like,
put some respect on his name.
Please. This guy is doing numbers and no one's ever projected. Like, this guy was a waiver wire pickup for me week 1 and 2. Like, he was there.
Yeah.
So give this guy some respect. Give Carson Wentz some respect. Give Mike White respect, and give Michael Carter all the respect.
Yep. I agree with that.
That's my little bearish bomb for the week.
So. Put some respect on the names. I like it. That's it for us. Stefan, let them know where they can find you, buddy.
You know, you can find me right here at Twitter. You can find me the Bearish on uSTADIUM. Like I said, you have any questions for the Thursday night game, you have any starts, sits, let me know. Shoot me a DM. You can curse me out for the whole Gainwell thing, the Lockett, Keenan Allen thing. I will take the slander because you know why? I'm a man of my word. And if you want to slash me and gash me for it, go right ahead. I will take it. But I will be back on Sunday with a lot better starts and sits for you guys. So that's what I'm coming into with Sunday.
All right. That's it for me. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, download the uSTADIUM app. Takes is coming, and it's a game changer.
Next week.
We'll see you guys Sunday. See you then. Toodles.
Bye.